TV Crazy Man here. Today we're going to talk about Wonder Woman with classic goofs, special effects, and a lot of fun trivia facts. So hang on and let's get started.
Isn't he wonderful?
We'll find goofs that will defy logic with hands that come out of nowhere and characters doing silly stuff that will boggle your mind. Plus, learn how they did some of your favorite Wonder Woman special effects back in the day. And so much more, starting with the very first wondrous season of Wonder Woman and finishing in the third and final season. In the Wonder Woman pilot episode from 1975, Princess Diana finds Steve Trevor seriously wounded on the beach. So she picks him up and carries him like a rag doll. Literally. You can tell he's a dummy by the way his feet sort of dangle back and forth.
Oh, somebody's got to be kidding.
So you probably know what happens next. Amazons have a contest to see who will take Steve Trevor back to America and see about this World War II thing that's going on. Notice the device in the Amazon's hand. This device was used mostly by Lynda Carter, of course, during the series to trigger small explosions on her bracelets to make it appear that bullets were bouncing off. Diana wins, of course, and rushes Steve to a hospital in America. Again, we see Lynda Carter carrying the dummy version of Steve Trevor. Another trick they used was to put a table underneath a man to enable whoever Lynda Carter was carrying to just sort of roll along with her. You can actually see part of the table in the second season episode, The Deadly Toys.
I don't need a gun to take you. I was Nuremberg judo champ.
Now, in all honesty, the big fight at the end of the pilot should have lasted about 2 seconds max. Now, this woman is able to kick, knock down, and overpower Wonder Woman, who can literally lift a car off the ground. Now, I do remember enjoying this episode as a kid, but I do think that bothered me just a little bit. When Wonder Woman enters a burning barn in the daytime, a minute later she drives a Jeep out, and it appears like it's nighttime. Also, there's a weird black bar blocking the view of Wonder Woman's face for some reason. I'm not sure if they put that up there to block the stunt person's face or what, or if that's just some kind of weird anomaly. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Before they settled on the bright light transformations, they used this slow, methodical turn for Diana changing to Wonder Woman. But it cost too much and it took too long to produce. Well, she got the belt, she got the tiara, oh, she forgot the bracelets. Now here's a look from the end of the first episode of Lynda Carter with her bracelet bullets gadget in her hand. In the second episode, Wonder Woman is missing her bracelets again. I think they used the same transformation shot from the first episode, but from a different camera angle this time. In episode 4, Debra Winger debuted as Wonder Girl. It's too bad she didn't stick around for the second season. Sometimes on Wonder Woman, and honestly this was something that happened on almost all older shows, one second you'd see Wonder Woman outside, then suddenly she pops into an inside studio shot with a blank wall behind her, usually the color of the sky. In this episode, Wonder Girl's competing against the other Amazons on Paradise Island in front of her mom, now played by Carolyn Jones from the Addams Family. Look to your left, there's a trailer on Paradise Island. Maybe the Amazons needed some place to change clothes. And I think there's a car back there. Interesting trivia note, in this episode, Wonder Girl and General Blankenship drive through the neighborhood of Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. On part 2, even though it's supposed to be 1942, you can see what looks like a 70s El Camino driving by in the background. If that's what it is, one of those these days would cost you somewhere between $18,000 to $30,000, even sometimes $40,000. You know, they really did a great job with the invisible plane on the pilot TV movie, but on this episode they went with a toy plane and Wonder Dolls for the effect. In the episode Wonder Woman vs. Gargantua, Lynda Carter faces an angry ape in the days when you either used a real animal or a guy in a suit. 9 times out of 10, if a gorilla was involved, it was a guy in a suit, as in this episode, which can still be better than a computer-generated image in many ways.
That is supposed to impress me.
In this scene, Gargantua is in the process of kidnapping Higgins. I mean actor John Hillerman from Magnum P.I. Notice the red alarm on the wall that Higgins is trying to hit. When the second MP comes in, the alarm is missing. I guess it served its purpose and was no longer needed.
We are not amused.
Later, as Gargantua is carrying Higgins down the wall, we can see it's actually a dummy.
3 men go up the stairs around the back of the building.
In this scene, another 70s car zooms by in the background. In this scene, Diana turns into Wonder Woman, changing or moving several things in the room. Did you ever notice that Wonder Woman has the power to remove the heels on her boots instantly, depending on the need, like climbing walls, for instance? On the episode Judgment from Space, if you look close, you can tell this night scene isn't from the 40s, but more like the late 60s or early 70s. Next, we'll look at some goofs from the episode The Bushwhackers. It guest starred the King of the Cowboys, Roy Rogers. There's a widespread rumor that Roy, possibly due to his Christian faith and very high moral standards, had something to do with Lynda Carter not wearing her typical Wonder Woman costume. But she did wear it along with a special riding suit, just not as much as usual. Lynda Carter, for her part, said that she never heard any complaints from Roy about her costume at this point. In fact, she said Roy was just happy to be in the episode to promote adoption, as he himself had adopted several kids. Speaking of kids, why do all the kids in this episode have 1970s haircuts? I mean, at this point, we're still in the 1940s, or at least we're supposed to be.
Since when is Texas part of your territory?
Wonder why Roy didn't notice that the Texas flag was waving upside down. Whoops, it looks like a boom mic managed to get into the shot. Well, there's the invisible toy plane again with Wonder Doll. Steve goes behind a rock. Comes out another man, and he falls into a hole. Now take note of how far apart the bars are that Wonder Woman is bent. If I didn't know any better, I would think those bars were made out of something very flexible, the way they sort of unbent themselves back onto Wonder Woman. The last episode of the first season brings back Carolyn Jones and Debra Winger as Wonder Girl, plus the guy from Airplane and the Starman TV series from the 80s, Robert Hayes, guest stars, and we get one last shot of the old toy invisible airplane and Wonder Doll. Here's a quick bit of trivia. While Wonder Woman was set during World War II on television, the comics copied the series and moved their setting to the 1940s. And when Wonder Woman moved back to the present, the comic followed right along as well. In the second season, Wonder Woman returns to America. This time it's the 1970s. A lot has changed. The invisible plane now looks more like a jet plane, and the action figures aboard, though, look more like toys. They did up the level of the stunts, I think, through the second and third seasons. There's some pretty awesome stuff here, but they really goofed up by limiting Lyle Waggoner's involvement in the series. You see him less and less. All he seems to do for the most part is touch base with Diana on the phone. In the first episode of the second season, I noticed that they upgraded Wonder Woman's tiara to actually take the shape of a boomerang, which looks cool and makes sense. But later episodes it was back to sticking to the round shape that would have zero chance of working in the real world. In the second episode that season, with a title that I definitely can't pronounce, Diana is tied up in a cave with dynamite. Or is she? She looks free to me before she even turns into Wonder Woman. This scene was filmed at the Bronson Cave section of the Griffith Park, where they filmed the '66 Batman cave exit, and where they also did some shooting for the 1948 Superman serial with Kirk Allen. And I'm reasonably certain they filmed this scene from the 70s Legends of Superheroes TV special from the same area. I've done videos on all these, so check them out after you finish this one. This reminds me, actor Lyle Waggoner tested for the 1966 Batman. Can you imagine what that might have looked like?
Holy caboose!
Right you are.
2 to 2. 2 to 2.
Right. It must be an address.
I get it. 222 Glover Avenue.
You've done it, chum.
On the episode, The Man Who Could Move the World. This man can move objects with his mind. Now back in the day, whenever people did Jedi tricks, there is always some strings attached somewhere. In this episode, we got another shot of the Invisible Jet with Wonder Doll action figure.
Hey, baby, you're good. You want a boogie?
In the episode Knockout, Diana escapes capture in a dress. Then she's suddenly in pants, right before she transforms into Wonder Woman. In the episode I Do, I Do, Wonder Woman saves an older lady from a horse gone wild. The weird thing is that she's riding on a trail with no buildings or fences around, and when the horse rears up, suddenly there's a fence, buildings, and a couple of other horses in the background for a second, and then they're gone. Remember the 70s were a time of high inflationary prices, and yet gas was only 70 cents a gallon for premium. In the episode The Man Who Made Volcanoes, Diana gets into a fight with another agent while her partner watches. There's not supposed to be anybody else around, so who's that watching? In the two-part episode Mind Stealers from Outer Space, aliens known as Skrill send a nice shiny red truck over a cliff that instantly becomes an old clunker as it goes over. The interesting thing is there's another red vehicle in the trees. Does something go wrong with the previous take possibly? And here's another thing, there's a cameraman trying to hide behind a tree getting a side shot. In part 2, Wonder Woman sends this Darth Vader mutant look-alike over a railing right into what is probably a stuntman's airbag. I guess even supervillains like to be safe, especially when up against Wonder Woman. So this goof I'm pretty sure was made to mess with our heads. Wonder Woman goes out on her balcony. She then leaps down from her window. In the episode The Deadly Toys, Wonder Woman is attacked by a flying toy airplane on wires. We probably missed the wires on our smaller screens back then, but what puzzles me is who does that hand belong to that's apparently handing her the airplane in the middle of the air? I wonder if this is Thing from the Addams Family. In the episode Light-Fingered Lady, I'm pretty sure we weren't supposed to see that guy. Looks like he's helping the stunt lady do her jump. Now you can see the board pop up as she goes into the air. You know, those stunt people were really amazing. I mean, they literally flew in the air without wires. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here in this one. Lynda Carter is in a boat. She transforms into a regular suit, and for some reason she's totally somewhere else. And then she transforms the rest of the way into her diving suit, and she's back on the boat. Boy, this guy's in trouble. He's totally lost his parachute. I think Lynda forgot that she wasn't wearing glasses in this shot. Lots more goofs to come, but please don't forget to comment and hit the like. And away we go. In the episode, Irac is missing. Diana puts a seatbelt on Rover the robot, and the shot changes and it's instantly gone. And then it's on again later. Diana bends down to pick up a coffee cup from Rover, but whose arm is that actually picking up the cup? Because whoever it is isn't wearing the same color of clothing. Here's a magic trick from the episode Seance of Terror. See the older couple walking towards Diana? Now you don't. Poof, they're gone. Now I just had to mention this amazing moment in TV history. I mean look, it's Tubbs from Miami Vice getting punched by Radar from MASH, and then Radar gets the girl. Now I only mention it because I'm also a big Miami Vice fan, and this is just too strange not to bring attention to. Wonder Woman helps a girl with amazing powers. In the big fight towards the end of this episode, Wonder Woman is trapped in a glass tube, but when she leaps out of it, it totally disappears. So the bad guy pulls a lever to drop a net onto the girl, but Wonder Woman signals to the girl to use her powers to stop the net in the middle of the air. But I just wondered, why did the girl just didn't, not run under the net in the first place? In the episode, The Murderous Missile, the wires holding it up were pretty easy to see, even in 1978. Now, I'm not sure about on a small cell phone, but I seem to recall my mom or dad pointing this out to me way back in the day. In the third season episode, My Teenage Idol is missing. Wonder Woman is climbing a building when it appears as though the windows have just disappeared, and then they're back. Is this just an optical illusion, or what?
Break a leg, guys.
Two Leif Garrets go directly on stage, one with a black shirt, one with a white, and then they both end up with white shirts. In the episode Hot Wheels, the driver of the truck tries to trick Wonder Woman by changing into a heavier stuntman with a wig, but she is not amused.
We are not amused.
In the episode Formisa, oh that word, Steve and Diana look at the photo of the woman who is known as that word, and later Diana encounters this woman wearing the exact same thing in the exact same pose as if this were actually the Twilight Zone.
A journey into a wondrous land of imagination.
I'm not sure they thought this one through. Oh look, it's the cast of Knots Landing on the episode Time Bomb. You know, I always thought it was neat that these two who played husband and wife on Knots Landing were chasing each other first in Wonder Woman. Time Bomb starts in the year 2155, where the Knots Landing cast is from. Cassandra takes off into the past to get rich. Apparently in the future, they've gotten rid of capitalism.
It'll be fascinating to watch a capitalistic society at work.
So who's paying for all this equipment anyway? And then this is this a big beach, or is there just no grass in the future? Anyway, she travels to 1978, which is cool, but for some reason she went one way and her cloak went another. Wonder what's wrong with these people. They act like they never saw a time traveler before. On the episode Skateboard Whiz, Wonder Woman leaps into a burning building and the smoke is shown going backwards. This is because to make it appear that Wonder Woman is leaping up, they would have a stunt woman jump backwards and then they just rewind the film. It works amazingly well, but there are a few signs that can pop up here and there that give it away in some shots. Only Wonder Woman could skate in heels like that. Hey, where'd her heels go? Oh well. Now the interesting thing about this clip is the shadow in the background that indicates the sun actually moved from the time Diana spins and the moment she's Wonder Woman, which makes you wonder how much time was there between these two shots. Not only does Wonder Woman have the power to remove heels by stepping onto a skateboard, she can also add fins as soon as she hits the water, apparently. In this episode, Diana gets rescued for a change, but when her rescuer comes in the building, the timer for the explosive device is at 56 seconds. But after he roams around for an entire minute, the timer only shows 6 seconds have passed. Well, you know how it is. They always save the day at the very last second. They never run out of time, no matter what. A van pulls out in front of Wonder Woman, and she's forced to jump over the van in a very cool action shot. But did you ever wonder how it seems like whenever a car or a motorcycle needs to jump over something, they just seem to do it, even without a ramp? Well, in the real world, there's always a ramp, but we just aren't supposed to see it. In the episode, The Girl with a Gift for Disaster. This car is dented already, and it's about to get a lot more. But when it explodes, the dents are all gone. That's a pretty neat trick. Explosion that makes things better. Wonder Woman, from time to time, has made some objects disappear when she does her transformation, but this time she really outdoes herself when she makes a whole van disappear. Classic TV facts, trivia, something, what was it? Oh. Well, let's see if I can get to the end of this video without making a goof. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Hit like and comment. That helps the videos out a lot. And of course, if you comment, that lets me know if I'm doing something right or wrong. Of course, I like it better when you say I do things right than when I do wrong. But
Have you short-circuited Batman's brain?
Still, it's good to know what you guys think out there. Check out some of the other videos I have on classic television. I have lots of stuff on superheroes, of course, and other classic TV categories, westerns and comedies and all kinds of stuff. So check that out, and y'all have a great day. Bye.
Poor devil. Feel it's my duty not only to catch him, but with all the medical know-how at our command, to help that sorry creature back to a normal way of life.